Hello fellow Godzilla nerds, and it's KillaKaiju, and I am back from my temporary hiatus. I'm sorry about all that, but I've gotten a couple upgrades and I'm ready to start doing this again. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Bandai standard Megalon 8-inch figure. My friend Ian over on Instagram said, "I want to see the dude with the horn in the back right, what's his deal?" Well, Ian, I'm sorry it took me 7 weeks to get here, but here we go. Let's just jump right in. I'll give kind of a brief summary of the character. Megalon comes from basically a bunch of people who live in the ground who can control him, and they team up with some aliens who control Gigan, the guy in the back if you don't know, to destroy the Earth, and Godzilla has to team up with Jet Jaguar to defeat them. And that is basically the gist of the movie, Godzilla vs. Megalon. The film came out in 1972. It's pretty campy, and it is the only occurrence of Megalon to date. Right off the bat, something that really stuck out to me about this figure, and especially with a lot of the older Bandai figures, is that the vinyl is kind of this really hard, not as squishy vinyl, which you might be used to if you have a lot more of the newer figures. So that's something that's interesting to me about it. He's pretty tall. I like him a lot. He's really the only variant that Bandai has made of Megalon, which is kind of a bummer. So I'm hoping we can get a new Megalon figure from Bandai relatively soon. Pretty standard stuff in terms of articulation here. The arms move back and forth. The head kind of twists around a little bit. It's kind of stiff, so it's like it almost doesn't want to go, so you don't really want to force it. And we get some action from the legs. They're going to kind of go in and out. Nothing really wants to go 360 degrees around, so you know, that's kind of a bummer. I like full motion figures, but you know, we're not going to get that with Bandai Megalon here. No. The detail on Megalon, especially his eyes, are something that I really like. They did a really good job of capturing that buggy nature in his eyes there. The horn I really like, but what I don't like about it is that it's just painted on the front. It kind of cheaped out on us, and the sides and back don't have any paint on them. It's kind of lame if you ask me. The face overall is pretty good. Kind of a bummer that we're missing some paint on his jaw and these horns here, although the jaw could just be worn as the figure's pretty old. I'm a really big fan of this paint job on his chest here. That shiny golden gradient to like the green I think is really appealing. I like kind of the scales, I guess we'll call them, he's got going on here. Those are pretty cool. And overall I think the front is pretty good. One of my favorite parts of the figure would be his shell on the back. I love the paint job on it. It looks really sleek. It's got a really smooth texture to it, and I just think it looks clean. I think the outside of his drill arms, or I guess we'll call them the outside, are really well done. It looks like a drill. It's got the ridges there, and the paint job is pretty good, but in my opinion, the inside kind of falls flat, almost quite literally. It's like pretty flat. There's no like rounded off edge to it at all, and I think they kind of cheaped out on us there with this detail. It's exactly the same on both sides, where it's just like you cut the drill in half and it's flat like that. I would have liked to see the drill more rounded out, but it is what it is. This is the only really Bandai variant of this character that exists, so I'll take what I can get. The lower portion of Megalon here isn't really anything special. The feet and legs are kind of blah with the gray paint there. I do like the continuation of the belly paint going down his I guess groin, we'll say. Tail is kind of stubby and seems to be lacking some paint detail. I'm not going to complain about the short tail, as short tails are kind of not a common thing with Bandai figures anymore, and it makes storing them ridiculous, so I'm not going to complain about it in this instance. I'm going to try my best here to get this as in focus as I can, but it's pretty tiny, so bear with me. On this foot it says Bandai Japan 1991. And up on the other one is some kanji that as we know at this point, I can't really read. It's going to be a bit tricky here to talk about scaling with this figure, as it, like I said before, it is the only Megalon figure that exists, and it's in the 8-inch line, at least in terms of Bandai. Just clears the top right there. I'm holding out hope that Bandai will release a Movie Monster Series Megalon at some point in the future, just because we need a new Megalon figure in my opinion, and it's been a while and I'm kind of getting tired of all the repaints they've been putting out. YMSF does make a Megalon figure that is 6 inches. I'm personally kind of a Bandai purist and really like to collect the Bandai figures. There's just something special about them to me, but anyway, if you're not as strict as I am, there is a 6-inch YMSF Megalon that does exist. That option is available to you. So, moving on to kind of my final thoughts here on Megalon, I'll start with his paint job today. There are a lot of areas on the figure where I'm actually pretty pleased with the paint job for how simple it is. The eyes, his belly, and the shell being one of them. There's a couple instances, like I said, on the figure where it looks like there should be paint, but there just kind of isn't for whatever reason. Oh, I think we know it's just laziness, but anyway, I'm going to give the paint job a pretty fair on this one. It's pretty good, but could be better in a lot of places. Detail is a little bit more impressive. The eyes are really good, as well as the shell, in my opinion. His front, like I said, is something I'm really happy with. The drills aren't bad, but it leaves you just wanting so much more from what this figure could be. Granted, this was produced in the late 80s, early 90s, so I'm kind of assessing it with that lens in mind, but still, I think we're well overdue for a new Megalon figure. Also, I'm going to give the detail, it's pretty okay, pretty good, it's just fine. We'll go with that. Coolness, Megalon's a pretty cool character, and this figure is pretty cool looking. It's just definitely outdated and could certainly use some improvement, so it's going to just get a, yeah, I guess it's cool. It sounds like I don't like this figure, but I do. Rarity and value, this figure has become kind of hard to find, especially if you're a psychopath like me and you gotta have the tag. Be prepared to shell out a pretty penny. This is the 8-inch standard variant, and I believe there is a memorial box variant that also exists, and possibly once more, but I don't think there's a lot too significant in the difference there. I've seen this figure go for quite a pretty penny, between $100 to I think $180. If you know where to look, you can get them with the tag for a good deal. But this is a figure you're looking to pick up, and be prepared to, he's not the cheapest one that exists, that's for sure. Overall, with all of these factors in mind, I'm going to go ahead and give Megalon a Beetle-rific, and that's the worst thing I could have ever come up with in my mind, as a rating for this figure. Well, that about wraps up everything for this Megalon review here. I've got a ton of new content coming. I got a ton of new stuff I'm going to be talking about pretty soon, and I'm really excited about all of that, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you really enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and if you'd like to, head on over to Instagram and follow me at KillaKaiju959 to stay up to date with my collection and other things going on with the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful night. Peace!